And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon and welcome to the market recap. Still Thursday, September the 16th. John Hoagland here, filling in for handsome Dan Hodgman. Thanks for trusting me with your time. We are looking forward to a good recap this afternoon. Hopefully the markets were good to you today and you were able to find risk management and infinite patience as always. Tomorrow morning, we're looking at the Michigan consumer sentiment at 9 o'clock. And tomorrow is Quadruple Witching Day. Could be something, could be a goose egg. We'll find out tomorrow. As far as the markets today, crude oil definitely trading November tomorrow. The volume remained higher in October all day today, but that will change tomorrow. Early rejection of value kind of reverses to close flat to higher. The E-mini and the E-mini S&P and Nasdaq. Did I mention repair day? And that's exactly what we got. We'll see that in the charts as we move along here. Gold, the head and shoulders pattern, as well as the Vince C bear flag, certainly bore fruit for us today from the overnight on, leaving gold for the better part of the day in just a dead cat bounce. I kind of hate that term, but it suits, so you'll see it in the charts. The euro overnight move leaves day traders wanting more. Basically a range-bound day in regular trading hours today for the euro. And this morning in the 10-year, we were talking about acceptance or rejection of yesterday's range. Rejection brought prices lower, even though rates largely just kind of remained still maybe a little bit higher throughout the day, but nothing tremendous. As far as the news is concerned, didn't see a whole lot of interesting things going on. I'm just going to put this out there. Fed Chairman Powell has ordered an ethics review after Fed presidents disclosed multi-million-dollar investments. Just going to leave that there. Apparently, our President Biden is preparing to fight for tax increases on the wealthy. And of course, that is with his economic agenda online. We could have predicted that. Dow and S&P is basically flat, clawing back from intraday lows. I guess they're seeing. I saw this earlier. Let me see if I can find this. Apparently, people are beginning to put the fact that they are vaccinated on their resumes as well as on their LinkedIn. I guess if you're looking for a job, you want people to know that you're vaccinated. I didn't really see too much as far as anything big, other than the good Chairman Powell wondering what's going on. Always want to say hello to everybody. These markets make no sense. You're right, Deg? Jorg, good to see you. Good afternoon. Bill, Ricardo. Yep, you're in the right spot. Maybe the thumbnail thing wasn't showing correctly. I consistently am being attacked by by technology. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I'm old, but technology seems to give me a hard time. Confirmation on the opening video, yes. Joshua, hello. Good day of trading. Good. 450% today in trading capital. Micros ES and micros NQ. Nice job. Ricardo, I mean, big companies would like that. Oh, yeah. Let's do this. Joshua Shellman, congrats. Above 53K on step 1 combine. On step 2, day of reset. After 5th day, move to step 2. Got to control my trade risk exposure, not to give it up. Yes, of course. Good afternoon, Vince. Let's do this. UG, the computer gremlins, got some today too. I see them running around here from time to time. I'm starting to wonder if they're real or if they're imaginary. But the way I keep getting attacked by technology, I'm starting to think that they are real. All right. Let's jump into the charts and take a look at what we were thinking about and looking at this morning compared to what actually happened. Let me get set up here because we do have charts. There should not be any. And there go the charts. In November already here in crude oil, so we're going to be all looking at November tomorrow. If you traded if you traded October today, it's fine. If you traded both, it's fine. But definitely look towards November tomorrow. Let's take a look. So this morning, we were looking at a breakout to the upside. We were wondering if we were going to see continuation still in rollover. That was probably kind of unlikely. We are in a bit of a new market state here. This trend line being taken out changes us from downside structure to potential range bound or upside structure as long as we remain above that. We still have kind of blurry information when it comes to volume and open interest. Take a look at this morning on the 30-minute chart. Okay, another situation where the market was opening in range but below value, which leaves us wondering, are we going to go back into an accept value early, or are we going to reject and look to lower pricing? Obviously, the market opened, tested the value low from yesterday, did not find any business to do up there. We had to look lower before we were able to look higher. Quite often a market will do that. It's maybe a little too long or not in the right position to continue the move to the upside, so we got a push down. No completion of gap fill from the day before yesterday to yesterday on our big move up that we saw. So the market actually brought in some buyers and ended up actually closing, I think, probably a little bit higher than settlement yesterday. So a little bit of a pullback. I'm not looking at that as detrimental to our market state in longer time frame. We're going to have to see how things continue to play out. All right. Okay, so here's the mini S&Ps. We've been holding downside structure, one time framing to the downside yesterday. We had a little bit of a relief rally to the upside. Now we were noticing on the 30-minute this morning on the forecast that we had some pretty substantial negative delta against upside momentum. That's an indication of longer, stronger buyers perhaps coming back into the marketplace. The way the market played out today, where it opened, and the emotion that was in the market yesterday had us kind of expecting a day where we may fall into repair. If you remember, this morning we talked about the fact that we did maybe a little bit of overnight shorts in the market. Nothing tremendous, nothing that we were going to be counting on any inventory adjustment early in this session, and we mentioned, if we open below settlement, which was a high volume node, and above the point of control, that may send us into a situation where we were going to be looking to fill in any repair that was needed in the profiles from yesterday. Very low volume in the profile here means maybe there's more business to be done. So when we open below that high volume node, that sends me into, all right, we may fall into repair between the high volume node here and the high volume node here. Got a little deep below this high volume node here, but by the end of the session, the market had rotated down below that level, not trading to yesterday's value low, finding buyers, returning back. Going to be closing a little bit below where we did yesterday, but looking at where we are, we got 1, 2, 3 days inside largely, inside largely, inside largely, and tomorrow is expiration. Quadruple witching day. Noon, we have to see how things play out. Could be a goose egg, could be good, could be bad. We don't know how things are going to play out tomorrow. So it makes sense that the market really found a way just to kind of hang around and finish up any business it had to do yesterday. To see how things look tomorrow morning on the market forecast to see if we can see anything new in the marketplace. The Nasdaq, same thing. We're still holding up better. I mean, we did have a close below weekly kickoff low, but we did not find any continuation or selling down there yesterday. We had an up day on okay volume, but we didn't have the same negative delta that we did in the E-mini S&Ps. We don't often see that in the Nasdaq. Nasdaq traders are a little bit more guarded or hidden in the things that they're attempting to do. Look at the repair day in the Nasdaq. We opened, we traded almost to this high volume node, which is the point of control from yesterday, whirled around, and then came all the way back up to this high volume node, basically settlement, before the close. This is just such a very close, but no cigar. If we were trying to buy that point of control, maybe we were able to find a way into it after that, but still another repair day. You see how toothy this volume profile is? High volume node, opening in the middle, traded to this low high volume node, then to the high volume node above before closing. Typical repair day. Now, if we can hypothesize that beforehand, just think of what a good day we could have. Gold. We have a head and shoulders. I'm looking at last week's low as the neckline. We broke the neckline, we broke this trend line, and we broke weekly kickoff low all before the open today. We mentioned the fact that this is going to be a relatively large day to the downside, and during the forecast we recommended do not try and step in front of it without some sort of structure. Well, we found a little bit of structure in the fact that there were 2 naked points of control from back, well, let's see when they were. Let's just, to be honest, back the beginning of August, a couple of naked points of control from last time we were down in this area. The market picked one out. The top one never got to the second one. So that to me is interesting, because in our measured move from our head and shoulders, it's got us just about coming back down to that area, that last little naked point of control on this 30-minute chart. Here's what happened last night. We stuck pretty close. About 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock last night, we started seeing some sellers come in. London session, more sellers came in this morning. The opening range was left at the high of the High of the regular trading hour session, we had taken out the low of last week. We had taken out a previous weekly kickoff level at 1775, which was also a naked point of control, opening below it, opening range the high of the session, driving to the next naked point of control, and then dying. This is what we talk about when we talk about a dead cat bounce. Dead cat falls and just bleh, nothing for the rest of the day. Gold is in a cycle where that seems to be happening. Even yesterday, we open, we did nothing. We open, we break, we do nothing. We open, we rally, we do nothing. We open, we look lower, we rally, we do nothing. It seems to be all of the activity is happening very early in the session. Now, that said, don't let that push you into anything. Make sure you're making good trading choices. Don't just buy or sell because it's open. Some pretty decent opportunities here for us. The euro had a bit of a down day. Nothing very technical to this, just continuation of a downside move. I wasn't really looking for that much. As a matter of fact, most of this happened before the open. Take a look at the 30. Here's what we were talking about. We get a big move to the downside to what? A naked point of control. The market just kind of hangs here the rest of the day. Dead cat bounce. Falls, bam. Doesn't really bounce much. And the 10-year, we were talking about acceptance or rejection. We're still just kind of stuck between these two trend lines. This is perhaps going to be building some energy. Typically, we get to about 75% to the apex, and we have a breakout one way or the other. The 30-minute shows acceptance or rejection. We opened in range, but outside of value. We took a look towards value, never found a way in or acceptance. That means, well, if we're not going to accept yesterday's value, maybe we'll look for opportunities to the downside, which we had a pretty good opportunity, but by 9:30, the opportunity was pretty much done. We just kind of range bound the rest of the day. All right, so that's what we got as far as markets are concerned for today. The gremlins I see are not only affecting me. We've got PD Legend. Your truck burst into flames all by itself last night. That does seem like a potential move of a gremlin. I found this little guy running around last week when I was having problems with the charts. So I'm keeping very tight grip on him, and I'm sure that this is not the one that caused your truck to burst into flames all by itself last night. PD Legend, I hope everybody's okay, and I hope you're okay. All right? So let me see what else we've got here. Computer gremlins, yes, they are real. I have one in my hand. Yeah. Scary little suckers. Razor trades. Eisenhower was president when I was born. How about you? Well, I was born in 64, so that was after John F. Kennedy was shot. Who was the president after that? You saw that guy in the security video. Well, he got here pretty darn quick. All right. Yeah. Vince, yes, gold did go limp. Absolutely. Chris, how do you send out, I know you send out the weekly kickoff numbers, but how do you figure them out? Well, Chris, it's kind of proprietary. I figured them out on Fridays after the close by looking at what has happened throughout the week. And I use some technical analysis, some math, market profile information. Quite often, some of the levels that line up as Weekly kickoff levels are naked points of control from the past. And it's a kind of a process that I keep proprietary to myself. But hopefully they're going to help you when you see those levels. Pay attention. All right. Yeah, everyone is okay. Good. Excellent. Yes. All right. So the question Ocean Blue has is, what do you mean by repair? And if it's all right with everybody, I'd like to just go back to that Nasdaq chart and just kind of talk a little bit about what that means. Ocean Blue. So here's the Nasdaq chart. So we look at yesterday, which was a relatively emotional day. Okay, we're not quite as emotional as the S&P as we opened. We had a whole bunch of volume accumulate here where the point of control remained down here throughout the rest of the day. At some point during the day, the market got some legs and became emotional to the upside, creating another high volume node up here. When we see these very toothy profiles, that tells us that the market is out of balance and moving relatively quickly through that area. So when the market opens between those two high volume nodes on the following day, there's a probability of the market basically ranging between those two high volume nodes to repair any business that needs to be repaired in the profile from the previous day. Remember, markets are extremely visual. When there are things sticking out like multiple high to low volume nodes, anomalies, different things like that, the market tends to go and repair them because they're visual eyesores. Markets are visual when traders have their eyes on a level that is visual. Whether they realize it or not, they tend to bring price to that level. So we take the S&Ps, for example. We were expecting a repair day because we had opened between settlement, which was a relatively decent high volume node in the volume profile, and this high volume node, which is the point of control from yesterday. Very little activity occurred here. So the market, when it opens in that area, it's gonna try and go back and see if there's any business to do there. It's gonna try and even out this bell curve from the previous day if it can, and they're gonna probably trade at some point to both high volume nodes. Here we opened, we traded to this high volume node right off the open. We turned around, we traded down to and through this high volume node, never taking out the value low from yesterday, finally putting in a low here, and then just kind of rotating back higher. Lower close, but value largely inside yesterday, range certainly inside yesterday. Repair is just to when the market kind of goes back and visually revisits holy areas like this to see if there's any business left to do there. And I hope that's a good explanation for you. Oops. All right. So, all right, we've looked at the charts. We've said hello. What happened this day in history? In 1620, the Mayflower departed England. September 16th, 1620. The War of 1810, the Mexican War of Independence, begins. And in 1908, William Durant creates General Motors. On September 16th, 1908, Buick Motor Company head William Durant spends $2,000 to incorporate General Motors in New Jersey. Durant, a high school dropout, made his fortune building horse-drawn carriages. The fact that he hated cars, he thought they were noisy and smelly. Today, September 16th, 1940, the United States imposes the draft. Yee. Into something a little more fun and perhaps even more interesting is what happened in this day in music. 1925, B.B. King was born. B.B. King, very influential blues guitarist. Had his influence on Eric Clapton, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix. All of them were fans of and students of B.B. King. In 1963, She Loves You by the Beatles was released by Swan Records in the U.S. It was ignored until 1964, the year I was born, when it would reach the top of the U.S. charts. Kenny Jones, if you know who Kenny Jones is, he was the drummer of Small Faces as well as Faces, but he was also the backup drummer for Keith Moon when Keith Moon was too drunk to play for practices. Kenny Jones was in, and he was the man who took his seat after Keith Moon passed away, unfortunately. 1970, Led Zeppelin won Best Group in Melody Maker's Readers Poll. It's the first time in 8 years that the Beatles had not won Best Group. What else we got here? This is the day in 1979 that the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight was released. The beginning of a new genre of music. Rapper's Delight. I remember my brother coming home from college with this album going, "Hey, this is great." 1979, Florida was born on this day. Nick Jonas, 1992. Holy cow, I was already an old man by the time he died, or by the time he was born. Yikes. All right. That's about it. They always seem to have something about Led Zeppelin. All right. Okay, thank you, Ocean Blue. LBJ. That, I guess, was the vice president at the time, Lyndon B. Johnson. Thank you. I forget some of my history, and some of it's so ingrained in my brain I can't get rid of it. So, all right, that's going to do it for our market recap. Tomorrow morning, I will join you for the market forecast, 8 a.m., same bad time, same bad channel. But it's going to be Friday. No recap tomorrow afternoon, no other classes or coachings. Looking forward to having a nice weekend. Looking forward to seeing great success for all of you. And get a good night's rest. Keep your eye out for witches tomorrow. I will put our friend here back in jail tonight so he doesn't cause any problems. And we'll see you in the morning. Rest up, be good to each other, and say a prayer for world peace for me, will you?